株式会社 MZ の溝原です。弊社は日本でフロンの回収、運搬、再生、破壊処理、再生フロン販売などの一貫したフロン処理サービスを提供しております。近年、世界中で異常気象が頻発するようになり、気候変動に対処する必要性はますます切迫しております。クーリングセクターでの冷媒としてのフロンの需要は増加し、使用時の漏洩や大気放出など含めてライフサイクル全体を通じてフロンの排出に取り組むことがとても重要になっています。日本国内では近年の気狩り改正によりフロンの生産や輸入規制が強まりつつあります。MZ グループではフロン管理を通じ地球環境保護へ貢献していく所存です。フロン管理は省庁、空調利用者、重点回収業者、集積、再生、破壊業者等様々な関係者が関わっており、それぞれの立場で課題を抱えています。例えば、省庁は毎年国全体でどれだけのフロンが適切に処理され、漏洩が起きたかを把握する必要がありますが、処理と漏洩の全体量を把握することは非常に困難です。空調利用者は使っていた空調の冷媒が適切に処理されたことを把握し、場合によってはその証明書が必要となります。回収業者は適切な重点回収を実施したことを書面化する必要があり、また、どの機器の冷媒をどの容器に回収したのかを明らかにする必要があります。しかし、実態としては、その情報が適切に記録されておらず、後から事実に即さない内容が記録されている場合があります。集積、再生、破壊業者も適切な集積、再生、破壊を実施したことを記録に残す必要がありますが、現場で紙ベースの記録を取り、オフィスでパソコンに毎日入力するという作業は人手もかかり困難な作業です。フロン管理を適切に行っていくには、これらの関係者の誰にとっても簡便で確実な方法でなければ継続していくことは困難です。そのような簡便な管理方法はないだろうと思われるかもしれませんが、これらの関係者すべてを満足させる方法が実は存在します。私たち MZ ではすでにその方法を取り入れてフロン管理を行っております。本日はフロンを簡便に一元管理できる方法の一つとして日本で使われている冷媒トラッキングアプリを紹介します。
Greetings everyone. I'm Ashish Busi, founder and CEO of Gemba Next. We are a Tokyo-based startup developing the Gemba OS, a one-of-its-kind horizontal SaaS solution that's targeting the digital transformation of industries with a Gemba, that is Japanese for on-site work. RefNext is our vertical offering for the fluorocarbon and refrigerant industry. Today, I will walk you through the refrigerant tracking process with RefNext. RefNext is a platform for the digital management of refrigerant in 6 simple steps. Step 1 is the recovery from the customer. Step 2 is judgment and storage at a collection center. Step 3 is reclaim or destroy. Step 4 is reclaimed refrigerant purity management. Step 5 is the reuse of the reclaimed refrigerant. And step 6 is the filling of the reclaimed refrigerant to the customer equipment. Firstly, Step 1 is recovery, where a customer requests an installation or a maintenance job. This can be directly to a contractor or can be via a dealer as well. Then, the contractor executes the actual recovery of refrigerant into recovery cylinders. QR code of the cylinder can be scanned and details of the recovery easily registered on RefNext. QR code is generated on RefNext itself. Managing via QR code makes the operation quite simplified. However, QR code is not a must. User can simply search for the cylinder in the list on the RefNext app itself and register the recovery details. Moving on, step 2 is the collection step, where contractors can browse and easily select on RefNext the collection center where they want to send their recovered refrigerant. Collection centers can manage refrigerant judgment, if they can reclaim this recovered refrigerant or they need to destroy it, and also the transfer cylinders can be managed and registered on RefNext itself. Step 3 is the actual reclaim or destroy execution step, where in case of reclaim, the reclaim judged refrigerant is converted into reclaimed refrigerant, and this whole process, including cylinder transfer, can be managed on RefNext. In case of destroy, similarly, destroyed refrigerant can also be registered. Here, I'd like to highlight that step 2, the collection step, is not a must. Recovered refrigerant can be sent directly for reclaim or destroy to a reclaim company or a destroy company, skipping the collection step. Moving on, step 4 is the management of the purity of the reclaimed refrigerant. There are over 400 parameters that can be managed. However, RefNext is currently actively tracking these 5 for now, which are purity in percentage, non-condensable gas in percentage, moisture in ppm, acidity in ppm, and evaporation residue again in ppm. Moving on to the step 5. This is the reuse of the reclaimed refrigerant whose purity has been judged and tracked. Reclaim companies transfer reclaimed refrigerant from large cylinders to small reusable cylinders, and this process is managed on RefNext. Contractors can request these reusable cylinders on RefNext itself. Step 6 is the actual filling of reclaimed refrigerant from reusable cylinders into customer equipment, and this whole process can be registered on RefNext. This brings us to the last step of the refrigerant traceability, where we now know and are tracking the complete life cycle and supply chain of the reclaimed refrigerant on RefNext. From the customer point of view, RefNext can track the actual refrigerant amount that is currently at a customer's building or inside an equipment via auto calculation of fill and recovery amounts registered on RefNext. This helps to identify as well as alert refrigerant leaks as well. In addition to these 6 steps, data aggregation is another feature available on RefNext. This is possible at 3 different levels. Level 1 is the real-time aggregation, level 2 is monthly, and level 3 is the annual fiscal year-wise aggregation. Aggregation logic and output formats are compliant with the Fluorocarbons emissions control law of Japan. The other feature available is data visualization on a map, as can be seen alongside. I'd now like to bring to your notice the traction of RefNext in Japan. It is being tracked through 2 critical KPIs. This is for the commercial use period of 1st January 2022 to 31st October 2022. The first KPI is refrigerant amount in kilograms or tons that has been recovered and its equivalent CO2 in kg. The second is the number of users and entities registered on RefNext. Regarding the first KPI, we have totally tracked a recovery amount of about 245 tons of refrigerant, which is equivalent to 461 million kg of CO2. Finally, I'd like to show you the case of RefNext in action. These are actual on-site images of RefNext users. On the left, you can see Daikin, which is the global leader of air conditioning. Daikin West Japan Contact Center, which is located in Shinsaibashi, Osaka, Japan, is grasping the status as well as generated certificates across the 59 service stations in all 47 prefectures of Japan. On the right, you can see a technician from MZ Corporation. He is doing the actual recovery process at a customer site in Tokyo, Japan, once again using RefNext. Let's see the step 1, recovery from customer, actually executed on site using RefNext. To start, user selects from the home screen the recovery button from the refrigerant register section. Recovery is completed through 7 simple guided steps. Step 1 is selecting the job completion date, which by default is the day when the user is actually executing this job. Clicking proceed takes the user to the next step, which is step 2, where the user registers the customer and building from where refrigerant is being recovered. This data is mandatory for reporting. RefNext stores a history of all previous jobs for this user. So, in case of a repeating customer or building, they can easily select from the stored list itself. This saves time for the user on site. Step 3 is associating a dealer to this job in case the contractor received this job via a dealer. This enables job progress notifications as well as reports be auto-shared with the associated dealer. This, however, is not mandatory. Moving on, step 4 is where the actual recovery details are registered. User can first select here what to do with the recovered refrigerant, if they want to reclaim it or destroy it. RefNext provides a simple tab design to help the user to correctly register the equipment type, if it is a commercial AC or a refrigerator freezer or a residential car AC. User then inputs the refrigerant type details and proceeds to scan the cylinder to associate to this job, and then register the refrigerant amount. QR code icon is clicked, which opens the device camera to scan the QR code of the cylinder. In case QR code is not attached to the physical cylinder, user can simply search and select this cylinder from a list on RefNext itself. The cylinder then is displayed, and user enters the current weight measured from the weighing scale, based on which the recovered refrigerant amount is auto-calculated or vice versa. User can then enter the equipment details like model and identification number as well. Proceeding to step 5. The user may choose to enter any remarks for this job to be referenced later, but this once again is not mandatory. This now brings us finally to step 6, which is the confirmation step, where user can verify the recovery details as well as preview the recovery certs that are auto-generated on RefNext. These are compliant with the Fluorocarbons emissions control law of Japan. This step can be done before completing the job. If all details are okay, user then clicks the complete button, taking them to the last step, step 7, and when the your job is successfully created message is displayed. This is the final confirmation to the user that the recovery details have been registered.
丸紅株式会社新エネルギー開発部の田田です。弊社は2018年度から日本政府の補助制度である JCM、ジョイントクレジティングメカニズムを活用して、ベトナムでフロン破壊事業を実施してきました。北部ハノイでは加熱蒸気分解法の洗浄設備を導入し、中部フエでは既存の焼却炉を活用した混焼事業に取り組んでおります。今年度新たに採択された事業では、ベトナム北中部を中心にフロンの回収事業を実施します。その中の取り組みの一つとして、本動画で紹介したフロン冷媒トラッキングアプリを用いたフロン管理事業を開始する予定です。
ご紹介したアプリを利用するようになり、私たち MZ においても実際に冷媒フロンの管理にかかる作業は非常に軽減されました。本日ご紹介したアプリは日本の法律と制度に合わせた仕様となっていますが、このアプリは各国でこれから導入する法律や制度に合わせて変更を加えることが可能です。そうすることで各国の関係者にとって確実にフロン管理ができ、使いやすいシステムとしていくことが可能となるでしょう。また、アプリを通じ、充填量や初期冷媒量と回収量の記録の差から漏洩量を把握することも可能です。また、サービス業者が省庁に報告する年次回収、再生、破壊量は各国政府が進めていく HFC の NDC 化、GHG インベントリーの作成にも役立てることができます。ご説明したように、冷媒トラッキング アプリは省庁、サービス事業者、どちらにとっても非常に大きなメリットがあるものです。レイバイトラッキングアプリは回収を確実に行っていく上で大きな選択肢の一つということができるのではないでしょうか。